for the most part, nobody knew what The Boys was until the show came out.
I'm only watching The Boys out of hatred now. Yeah, I'm one of those people that like I read the Walking Dead. I read because I heard the show was being made. The Boys I had read like a decade ago. Like I read it like shortly after it came out.
So naturally, you're gonna hate everything about that TV show because you already read the source material.
No, I hate everything about the TV show because it sucks.
No, it doesn't.
It's really bad.
No, it's
like
not.
they butcher their own characters left and right.
It's gotten worse, but it's not really bad. If you look at it from the lens of somebody who hasn't read the comics, it's not really bad.
No, I'm looking at it from the lens of someone who has
got a bunch of bullshit in
it.
It's got a bunch of bullshit in it, and it takes you in the same stupid directions everybody else does. But it's not bad.
It's terrible.
Bad is reserved.
And
to
Generation
dog
V
shit
was
like
much, much worse.
It's that show fucking sucks.
I stopped when there was the midget or the shrinking person on the penis.
Hilarious.
I was like, I'm out of here.
Dying laughing at that.
Not doing it.
Speaking of, somebody brought up
blood magic.
Like, oh god! And then they're doing that with fucking not to bring
blood.
Up,
no, see that's my favorite thing though. The Rippaverse is ripping off the bastard child of a bastardized version of a great comic book.
I was like, you guys are literally ripping off something that came up like 6 months ago, like a fucking blood magic thing. Are you serious? You're gonna do this right after the Boys spinoff?
The first season of The Boys is really good.
Yeah.
The second season had some good shit in it too.
Because it started getting infected. It started getting infected with the whole anti-Trump shit, and they started like really pushing their agendas in
like almost immediately, and that fucking ruined the show because it became everything about the show. And then the shit with Homelander got stupider and stupider. It's not like the comics at all. The fucking Homelander in the comics was goddamn terrifying. This Homelander's stupid.
Yeah, he's like a giant baby. I was like, nobody's intimidated by that. Like, I get it, he'll kill whatever, but the fuck, he has emotional fucking range of a 3-year-old.
The Homelander in the comic books was responsible for their version of 9/11.
It could be way better, but it's not bad.
There was a plane headed for the World Trade Center Tower, implied. It's never implicitly said. Yeah. But him and fucking what's-her-face, Queen Maeve, get on the plane, trying to stop it, and they realize they can't save everybody. So they get off, and he's just gonna let it fly into the building, but Queen Maeve like chips the fucking wing or some shit, and it goes into the goddamn one of the bridges, like the big one with the fucking real like stonework and shit. Can't remember.
Yeah, the big bridge. They call it the big bridge.
I don't know New York. I don't give a fuck about New York. Fuck New York.
Well, they had that scene in the show. It didn't crash into a bridge, but. That was like from the first season. I was like, all right, this show's pretty fucking dark.
They reused it for something else. They just made it seem like they were trying to save a hijacking or something like that. In the comic books, it's very, like, it says 9/11/2001 when it does the flashback. And you're like, I see what's going on here. So it's kind of cool that, like, in their world, Homelander is responsible for one of the biggest tragedies in the nation's history, and no one knows about it. And that's that's the reason why Queen Maeve drinks.
And it makes sense too, because Vought sells their services to the government, and the government was responsible for it in real life.
Do you know why Billy the Butcher hates supers?
Other than the graping of his wife?
Yeah, other than the complete cucking of Billy the Butcher.
So, in the comics, his wife worked for Vought, like in the show, right? Homelander rapes her, like in the show. But unlike in the show, she gets pregnant, right?
She got pregnant
when she was like 9 months pregnant and she was about to give birth. She's asleep in bed with Billy next to her, and he thinks it's his baby. The baby rips out of her womb, like just tears out of her womb and starts shooting lasers everywhere and flying around with its umbilical cord hanging down. And Billy grabs it and bashes it to death with a fucking lamp.
So the kid doesn't exist in the comics?
No, the kid's not there.
What
Billy, Billy murdered his wife. Like the rape eventually led to the death of his wife, and that's when he got in touch with like the fucking the spies who like do all the shit. Like there's like a guy like deep bedded within like the CIA that has like the small task force that like they
that they made a woman in the show.
Yeah, it's an old burly dude in the.
That sucks. That baby beats the Plan B pill, but gets smashed to death by the butcher. That sucks.
Yeah. It was pretty gnarly.
I feel bad for the baby.
Right?
It's pretty gnarly, and that's why he hates Super. That's why he hates Homelander specifically, and he joins that guy's team with the express like desire that I'm only doing this so I can be the one to kill Homelander. And they're like, okay, you're in.
That sounds.
Well, everybody has powers in the comic book, right?
Yeah. So it's the Compound V like in the show, right? When Huey gets inducted into the boys, like they're riding in the back of the van. They're like, hey, we're gonna go. I think it was called Teen Kicks was the name of the team. Like, we're gonna go bust the heads of Teen Kicks. They're at like some whorehouse fucking doing Compound V laced blow. And like, Huey's like, what's Compound V? And he's like, oh, it's this thing that creates superheroes. It was invented in World War II. And like while he's talking, Butcher's like loading up a needle, like a needle gun. And he's like, here, let me see your arm. He's like, what's that? Vaccine, like a vaccine update or something. He's like, something like that. And he just shoots him. And he's like, that I just gave you a dose of Compound V. He's like, what? He's like, what's gonna happen? He's like, well, you're gonna, potentially get a superpower. He's like, what is it gonna be? Don't know. It's random. And he gets super strength, and he punches through a teenager's stomach and kills him. And it gets stuck on his arm, and he's just like,
and they give him the lamest fucking superpower in the show.
Yeah, teleportation. It takes her clothes. What? That's fucking stupid.
That was literally an X-Men.
Yeah, but it didn't take his clothes.
They didn't take his clothes off, and that scene in X-Men 2 was fucking badass in the beginning of that movie.
Mm-hmm. Nightcrawler was awesome.
Yeah, I like that first scene is pretty good. Yeah.
So Cody said the shit with Kid Ryan in the show was stupid. I agree, Cody. I liked Ryan in the beginning when they were kind of grooming him to be the anti-Homelander. I was like, oh, this is cool.
I can't watch a show about groomers.
Now they turn around and make him a sycophant, and Dan turned him into a pussy. It's like,
yeah. Plus, that's who he is on the outside. That guy sucks.
You watch that fool kill your mom, you should have a vendetta against him, but nope.
Yeah, they've totally turned Billy into a pussy in that show too. Like, Billy was like a bloodthirsty motherfucker in the books. Like, had no mercy.
They turned everybody into a pussy. That's the fucking problem. That's the current day writing.
The thing that bothers me the most too, like, I get why they left it out because it probably would be expensive, but you could use him sparingly. Terror, Billy's dog. He's got an English bulldog that has Compound V, and so he's like got superhuman or super dog strength, and he's got giant fucking balls. So they always show him like Billy and the dog walking away. You just see these giant testicles on the back of the dog.
Ew, man, if he jumps and humps another dog, he's gonna blow it up.
Well, that's one of the things that Billy will do is he'll tell him basically grab that motherfucker's dick, and the dog will walk over and pick the guy up by his dick.
Ugh, God.
And he'll be like, all right, if you don't tell me what I need to know, I'm gonna have Terror start shaking you.
Well, they introduced Terror last season, so we'll see if he goes that.
They
direction.
Hint at him a couple times, but they've hinted that he's a previous dog, like the dog had died or something.
It's still stupid.
We're at the end of the last season.
We're on our 4th season. They still haven't given them superpowers. Like, this is so fucking stupid.
No, they gave Billy got superpowers and
no, he didn't. He did that injection shit that was like melting his brain.
Oh, yeah, that's stupid.
They made the last episode. They're hinting that he's dying because he took too much.
Well, what I think is going to happen is he's going to take real Compound V and
of course they should have did that in first season.
And he's going to get his Homelander powers, and it's going to fix
no, he doesn't get home. He doesn't have Homelander powers.
Yes, he does.
He does in the
show.
No,
not in the fucking book.
Nobody gives a shit about the book,
dude. Mother's Milk was the fucking most fucked up one. His mom worked at a factory that made Compound V, and even through her protective gear, the compound still seeped into her skin, and it got into her breast milk while she was pregnant. And so when she gave birth to the baby, it's all dried up and shit. And then when it got some of her milk, it got strong and big. And to this day, he has to drink his mom's milk. He keeps storing. I don't know. I guess I don't know what's gonna happen if he doesn't though. He starts shrinking up and his muscles and start shriveling up.
The biggest problem in the universe has ruined Mother's Milk for me. I will never be able to look at him and not think of stupid Vito being upset that he got that bobblehead.
I was surprised this last episode when he had that big thing, he didn't put all those Mother's Milks he got into just one.
Okay, so we might need to have a conversation about how fucked up the comic people are with everybody wanting breast milk. Because Homelander's all into breast milk, and
they stole that for the show from Mother's Milk. Homelander didn't have a breast milk thing in the fucking...
Oh, he didn't in the books? Okay.
No. Homelander, that was like the weird thing about, or the creepy thing about Homelander was he was a Boy Scout until you saw him when he was evil and he was like just fucking ruthless. And that's because at the end of the comics, you find out it's two people. Black Noir.
That's the big one.
Black Noir is Homelander.
It's like his clone or something.
Yeah,
right?
they're twins.
Well, they're cloning him now. So at the end of the last television season, he killed Black Noir. And they're going to be cloning Black Noir, and they're going to clone him off of Homelander. So they're resetting that problem that you gave at the end of the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're fixing that.
Why did you even have to do that?
Black guy with an afro in the war thing, and that can't be possible because he was Homelander.
It's just fucking bait and switch. It's so stupid.
It's just a waste of time. It was just a complete and utter waste of time. Like, if you were going to do something different, fine. Because, I mean, they obviously were making the Homelander shit, like that Jekyll and Hyde shit that was like kind of the basis of Homelander. Like, they're making that more just one person, right? Okay, fine. But you still got to end with Homelander and fucking Billy Butcher having a bare knuckle boxing match in the Oval Office and fucking Homelander or Billy
he's
taking
going
his
to be
head
running
off.
for president next season. I think that and I have no evidence of this whatsoever, but I think that their ratings dipped so bad the last 2 seasons with the whole Trump thing that I think they're trying to reset it and kind of make it more towards what the comics were.
We'll see. They're dug in like ticks. Like, they've had years to not be insane, and this election's coming up. Like, dude, there's no hope for these fucking people. The TDS is part of their DNA at this point. You can probably test for it. It's so fucking ingrained in their DNA.
Well, it's the prescribed opinion of Hollywood. Like, if you don't have that opinion,
you have that opinion, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have that opinion, you can't get anything done out there right now. So it makes sense why so many of them are just losing their mind, because their lives are so interdependent on this fucking dying industry that they will just believe and say and parrot anything to keep the money rolling in as long as fucking possible.
Oh, I think it goes way deeper and darker than that, but
it does for some people for sure. But I'm saying, like, think about the average motherfucker, like not the A-listers, but like the C-list actors, the ones that are like character actors and shit like that. They don't give a fuck about most of this shit, probably. They don't make enough money to give a fuck about any of that shit. They're just saying what they need to say so that they will continue to get hired. Because if they don't, fucking word's going to go around and they're not going to get the next job.